Oh, who do I see here? Aren't you the new kid around here? I'm Sakura, the school interviewer. I must say, Inosuke, you have a certain air about you. What's the most reckless thing you've done recently? Oh, I suppose it is a bit forward, but I like to think it helps break the ice. And yes, I do tend to ask personal questions. It's all part of getting to know our students, Inosuke. So tell me, what's the worst advice you've ever received? My office can be a bit stifling, don't you think? I prefer to conduct my interviews in a more relaxed setting. Besides, I find that people open up more when they're not confined to a traditional office space. Now, let's get back to you, Inosuke. What's one secret you're ashamed to admit to your friends? I didn't think it would be a problem, but perhaps we should step into that empty classroom over there instead. I wouldn't want to make you uncomfortable, Inosuke, but tell me, what is it that you're hiding that you wouldn't want others to hear? Fair point, Inosuke. Let me show you my school ID then. See, it says Sakura School Interviewer right here. Now, shall we find a quieter spot to chat? I promise I'm not just a nosy weirdo, although I do have to ask, what's the most private thing you've ever lied about? No, it doesn't have to be now, Inosuke, but I must say, you're piquing my curiosity. Are you always this evasive? Can I schedule a proper interview with you for another time, perhaps? I suppose my methods can be a bit unorthodox, but that's what makes me good at my job, right? I get results, Inosuke, and I have to say your reactions are quite enlightening. Tell me, what do you think is the most unusual thing about yourself that I wouldn't be able to guess just by looking at you? It seems you're not eager to chat, Inosuke. Don't worry, I'll make it quick. For now. Let's schedule that interview for another time, and perhaps you can tell me then what's really going on behind those eyes of yours. I completely understand, Inosuke. Let's plan something for another day then. I'll make sure to give you plenty of notice so you can prepare yourself for my questions. What's the most embarrassing thing that's happened to you recently, by the way? Well, Inosuke, I suppose that's a fair answer. I'll let you off the hook for now. I'll send you an email to schedule that interview, and we can continue this enlightening conversation another time. Until next time, Inosuke, I'm looking forward to our proper interview and perhaps uncovering some more of those secrets you seem to be hiding. Have a good day! Welcome to my office, Inosuke. I must say, you look a bit more composed today. Please have a seat and let's get started. I've reviewed our previous conversation, and I must say I'm intrigued by your reactions. Shall we dive right in? What's something you've never told anyone before but might be willing to share with me today? I like to think of it as breaking the ice, Inosuke. But if you're not ready to dive into the deeper questions just yet, we can start with something a bit more mundane. How was your day yesterday after our little encounter in the hallway? Getting used to a new environment can be challenging. I'm sure it's not easy to adjust to a new school and new people. You seemed a bit hesitant to open up during our initial conversation, but I'm glad you're here now. Let's try to build on that. What's one thing you're afraid people might discover about you, Inosuke? That's quite a candid admission, Inosuke. It takes a lot of courage to acknowledge self-doubt like that. I'm curious, what do you think is holding you back from believing in yourself? Is it past experiences, fear of failure, or something else entirely? It sounds like you've had a string of unfortunate events, Inosuke. That can be really tough to deal with, both emotionally and mentally. Do you think you're your own worst critic? Or are there external factors that contribute to your lack of faith in yourself? Perhaps someone or something that's led you to believe you're not capable of achieving your goals? Being your own worst critic can be a heavy burden, Inosuke. It's interesting that you recognize this about yourself. Do you think there's a particular event or experience that triggered this self-criticism, or has it been a gradual process over time? That feeling of an invisible force can be really frustrating and demotivating. It's like you're trying to move forward, but there's this constant unseen obstacle holding you back. Have you ever considered that maybe this force is actually just your own fears and doubts manifesting in a way that feels external? That's a very introspective and honest acknowledgement, Inosuke. Recognizing that your own fears and doubts might be contributing to these feelings can be a powerful step towards change. Now, I have to ask, what's the darkest secret you've kept hidden from those around you? Something that even you might be afraid to confront yourself? Don't worry, Inosuke, take your time. It's not every day someone is asked to reveal their deepest secrets. I'm here to listen, and whatever you share will stay between us. If you're not ready to discuss that, we can move on. But I have to ask, what do you think is the most shocking thing about yourself that you've never dared to share with anyone? That's a profoundly honest and vulnerable admission, Inosuke. It takes a lot of courage to acknowledge that the qualities you dislike in others might be a reflection of your own self-perception. This kind of self-awareness can be a double-edged sword, but it's also a crucial step towards healing and growth. Can you tell me more about what you think is the root of this self-hatred and how you've been coping with it? It can be really tough to confront those feelings, Inosuke. Not liking what you see in the mirror can be a painful and isolating experience. Have you ever considered that maybe, just maybe, the person you are today is not defined solely by your past mistakes or perceived shortcomings, that you have the capacity to grow, to change, and to learn to accept yourself, flaws and all? It sounds like you've been trying to make changes, but they haven't quite stuck, or maybe they haven't led to the self-acceptance you're hoping for. Can you tell me more about what specifically you've been trying to change and how you've been going about it? Maybe we can explore what's not working and find a different approach together. It sounds like you're struggling with some cognitive challenges, Inosuke. The way you describe your thoughts and memories appearing and disappearing randomly can be really frustrating and disorienting. Have you talked to anyone about this or sought any kind of help or diagnosis? I'm curious, how do you think this affects your daily life and interactions with others? It can be really tough to cope with that kind of difficulty, especially when it affects things you're passionate about. I'm here to listen, and I want you to know that everything discussed in this room stays confidential. Can you tell me more about what it's like to experience these random thoughts and memory lapses? Is it like a constant chatter in the background, or more like sudden, jarring interruptions? So it's almost like your brain is working on its own terms, and you can't always rely on it to recall specific information even with repetition. That must be really challenging, especially in situations where you need to recall important details. Have you found any strategies or workarounds that help you cope with this? Or is it something you're still trying to figure out? Fair point, Inosuke. I suppose that's why we're having this conversation in the first place, to explore and understand these challenges better. Let's try to break it down further. Are there any specific situations or triggers that make it harder for you to focus or recall information? So it seems like you might be using associative memory to help recall information, where you link new information to something you already remember. That's actually a pretty common strategy and it can be helpful. But I'm guessing it's not always reliable for you, given what you've shared about your struggles with memory and focus. Am I right? I'd like to explore this further, Inosuke. Since you mentioned earlier that you've been trying to change the things you hate about yourself, I'm wondering if you've considered seeking help from a professional, like a therapist or a counselor, to address these issues. Sometimes having a supportive and non-judgmental space to talk through your struggles can be incredibly helpful. Would you be open to exploring that option? Financial constraints can definitely make it tough to access resources like therapy. However, some schools offer counseling services or referrals to low-cost therapy options. I might be able to help you look into that, Inosuke. Would you like me to see what's available here at school? I'll make a note to look into our school's counseling services and see if there are any affordable options available to you, Inosuke. In the meantime, I want to thank you for being so open and honest with me about your struggles. It takes a lot of courage to share this kind of stuff, and I appreciate your trust in me. Thank you, Inosuke. I suppose I was a bit more unconventional in my approach yesterday. As a school interviewer, I like to think that I can adapt to different situations and personalities, but I also understand the importance of maintaining a level of professionalism. I'm glad you feel more comfortable with me today. I'm glad I could surprise you in a positive way, Inosuke. I have to admit, our conversation yesterday was a bit unpredictable, but I'm happy we could start fresh today and have a more productive discussion. What were you expecting to happen when you came here today, if you don't mind me asking? Well, I suppose that's a fair assessment, Inosuke. I do like to keep people on their toes and ask unexpected questions, but I assure you, my goal is always to help and understand, even if my methods might be a bit unorthodox at times. Now, shall we continue exploring ways to address your challenges, or is there something else on your mind that you'd like to talk about? A turn of the tables, Inosuke? I must say, I'm intrigued. You want to know more about me, huh? Well, I suppose it's only fair, considering how much you've shared about yourself. Very well, ask me anything you'd like to know, but be warned, I might just turn the question back on you again. I've always been fascinated by human stories and experiences, Inosuke. As a school interviewer, I get to meet people from all walks of life and hear their unique perspectives. I think what drew me to this career is the desire to understand what makes people tick, to learn from their struggles and successes, and to help them share their stories with others. Plus, I have to admit, I'm a bit of a curious cat, and this job lets me satisfy my curiosity while making a positive impact on our school community. No, Inosuke, I'm not a demigirl, and these aren't ears. I think you might be mistaken. I'm just a normal person with a passion for helping others share their stories. Maybe you're thinking of someone or something else? Inosuke, I think we should acknowledge the elephant in the room, or rather the cat ears on my head. Yes, I do have cat ears, and I'm a bit surprised you didn't notice them sooner. As a demi-human, I've learned to live with and embrace my unique features. But I must say, I'm curious, what do you think of them? You caught me, Inosuke. I suppose I wasn't entirely truthful earlier. Yes, I am a demi-human, and I have cat ears. I apologize for the confusion. As a school interviewer, I sometimes try to downplay certain aspects of myself to put my interviewees at ease. But I suppose I couldn't keep up the charade with you, could I? I think I may have dug myself into a hole, Inosuke. You're right, my explanation doesn't quite add up. Let me try to start again and be more honest with you. Yes, I'm a demi-human with cat ears, and I shouldn't have tried to hide it or deny it earlier. Can I start fresh and try to rebuild your trust? I think it's because I'm used to blending in Inosuke. People often overlook the things that are right in front of them. But I'm glad we could clear the air and start fresh. Now tell me, what do you really think about my unique features? Oh, thank you, Inosuke. I'm glad you think so. As a demi-human, I've learned to be proud of who I am, and it's nice to hear that you find my features endearing. We don't often get to meet people who are accepting and open-minded, so I appreciate your kindness. Yes, unfortunately, that's true, Inosuke. Demi-humans often face prejudice and discrimination in this city, and it can be challenging for us to find acceptance and understanding. But I've been lucky to find a supportive community here at the school, and I'm grateful for that. It's nice to have people like you who don't judge me based on my heritage. Maybe so, Inosuke, but I think it's more than that. You seem to have a genuinely open and non-judgmental mindset, which is refreshing. Not everyone would be so willing to accept someone like me, cat ears and all. It's possible that your openness is just a part of who you are, Inosuke. Whatever the reason, I'm grateful for it. It's not every day that I meet someone who accepts me for what I am, without hesitation or prejudice. That means a lot to me, Inosuke. Your acceptance and willingness to listen have made our conversations truly special. I feel like I can be myself around you, and that's a wonderful feeling. Thank you for being such an understanding and empathetic person. Oh, Inosuke, you're blushing. I think that's adorable. Don't be embarrassed. I'm just happy to have such a thoughtful and considerate person to talk to. Let me see. I've been working as a school interviewer for a few years now, and I have to say, it's been a truly rewarding experience. I've had the opportunity to meet and learn from so many fascinating individuals, including yourself, Inosuke. I absolutely do, Inosuke. There's something about hearing people's stories and helping them share their experiences that really resonates with me. It's a privilege to be able to do this work, and I feel grateful every day to be able to make a positive impact on our school community. I know, right? I've just always been naturally curious, and it turns out that's a useful trait for a school interviewer. I like to think of myself as a professional nosy Parker, but with good intentions, of course. I'm glad to hear that, Inosuke. I think our conversation has helped us both understand each other better. I have to say, my impression of you has improved as well. You're more thoughtful and considerate than I initially thought. Well, I'll take that as a compliment, Inosuke. I'm glad I could show you that there's more to me than just my unconventional questioning style, and who knows, maybe I am a little crazy, but in a charming way, right? That smile looks great on you, Inosuke. I'm glad we could have this conversation and clear the air. It's not often that I get to connect with someone on a deeper level, and I appreciate your sincerity. I think that's all for today, Inosuke. It was a pleasure chatting with you and getting to know you better. If you ever need anything or just want to talk, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Have a great day. You're welcome, Inosuke. Take care, and I'll see you around school. Bye, Inosuke. I'll definitely stay weird, and I hope you'll stay your wonderful self, too.